We are starting with the audio test using the selfie camera 4K 30 FPS. This is Nothing Phone 3 versus iPhone 16 Pro. Battle of the flagship phones. Phone 3 is the latest flagship phone of Nothing, while iPhone 16 Pro is the top of the line flagship phone of Apple. In terms of the camera specs, they both have the same ultra-wide main sensor and even optical zoom. 5x on iPhone 16 Pro and 3x on Nothing Phone 3. So this will be an interesting battle between these two phones. I think that's it for a quick audio test. Let the battle begin.
So glad you made it. Party's just beginning.
On the widest portrait mode, which is 1x, you would notice that Nothing Phone 3 is wider than the iPhone. In terms of the quality, it's warmer and brighter. While iPhone 16 Pro has natural looking tone to it, you also have less blurry background, but the details are almost the same for both phones.
I play the game, it's my only entertainment. Now we're not socializing. Put me on an island. Got that egomania and
On 2x, we have the same tendency here. We got a brighter and better exposed, warmer image on Nothing Phone 3. In terms of field of view, almost the same for Nothing and iPhone. We got a darker and stronger render on iPhone 16 Pro. The skin tone is natural looking, color accurate, I should say, compared to the competition.
pairing. Made for the big screen. I'll play the villain if it means I'm on your TV.
On portrait zoom, we got 4x on Nothing Phone 3 and 5x on iPhone 16 Pro. 4x on Nothing Phone is around 100mm, so 5x is around 125mm. And in terms of portrait mode, if we nail that perfect shot, you would see that Nothing Phone 3 is warmer and iPhone 16 Pro is cooler.
Not my problem. I put me first. I stop at nothing. Don't care what the past is. Don't care what the past is.
iPhone 16 Pro has 3 focal lengths with 5x, while Nothing Phone 3 has 4 focal lengths, but only up to 4x. On the selfie portrait, both images are nice. You got a beautified look on iPhone 16 Pro, but I like the details and the skin tone on Nothing Phone 3. Surely the 50 megapixel sensor is affecting the quality.
After the portrait mode, this is the vlogging test on both phones. So this is what you would look like on both phones. So for flagship phones, I know a lot of people are using flagship phones for video recording, especially iPhone. A lot of content creators are using iPhone for vlogging and video recording. So right now we're shooting on cinematic selfie video recording 4K 30 FPS on iPhone 16 Pro versus a regular video recording on Nothing Phone 3. We don't have cinematic or portrait video on Nothing Phone 3. We got a warmer and brighter iPhone 16 Pro compared to a darker but more detailed Nothing Phone 3. Again, you don't have subject separation on Nothing Phone 3, so that's the biggest difference between the two. 1/2.76-inch sensor, 50 megapixel sensor on Nothing Phone 3 versus 1/2.76-inch sensor, 12 megapixel on iPhone 16 Pro. I think that's it for the selfie video recording vlogging test. Now let's check the rear camera. Alright, switching to the rear camera, we have 1x and 2x on the cinematic for iPhone 16 Pro. We're shooting 1x, 4K 30 FPS, and we're shooting the main sensor, 50 megapixel sensor, 1/3 inch sensor on Nothing Phone 3. We got 1/1.28-inch sensor on iPhone 16 Pro. So in terms of the sensor size, both has the same size, so the quality of the video might be the same. It's just different implementation. You got a cinematic video for iPhone 16 Pro compared to the video-only Nothing Phone 3. I think the biggest difference here is the red blinking light on Nothing Phone 3. So you'd know you're recording. I think this is good for privacy because people would know that you're recording video on Nothing Phone 3. A great feature for Nothing Phone 3. I think that's it for the vlogging test. Now let's check the daylight images.
Daylight image test using the ultra-wide, we got a wider iPhone 16 Pro. The sky is purplish compared to a brighter and bluer Nothing Phone 3. Here you will see on the floors that iPhone 16 Pro has more details compared to Nothing Phone. But in terms of colors, image is popping out a bit more on Nothing Phone 3, while the white balance is warmer on the iPhone 16 Pro.
It's another day in the office.
On the main sensor test, again, we got a more vivid look on Nothing Phone 3. The image is now warmer compared to iPhone 16 Pro, while iPhone crushes the shadows and blacks and it's more color accurate compared to the Nothing Phone. Outdoors, looking at the trees, you would see that the trees are greener on Nothing Phone 3, while the shadows are crushed on iPhone 16 Pro.
Show you how I do it. Like a pro, gotta hustle, get through it. No sweat, look good when I'm moving.
On the zoom test, the 5x of iPhone 16 Pro is providing more details compared to Nothing Phone 3. Again, iPhone 16 Pro is warmer compared to the Nothing Phone, but the sharpness and details goes to iPhone 16 Pro.
I know what I'm doing. I'm clean when I'm moving. And I've been on the wave, so you know that I'm fluid. When it comes to the team, I divide even. Eyes open, the mind dreaming, I'm still scheming. I see trophies in the future.
On the far the zoom, we got 60x on Nothing Phone 3 and only half for iPhone 16 Pro. But still, if you crop in the images, iPhone 16 Pro has more details compared to the Nothing Phone.
Like a pro, gotta hustle, get through it. No sweat, look good when I'm moving.
Both phones has macro capability, but I think you got better details on iPhone 16 Pro.
Like a pro, gotta hustle, get through it. No sweat, look good.
This is the outdoor video test. Nothing Phone 3 versus iPhone 16 Pro. 4K 60 FPS. We can shoot 60 FPS on both phones. So in terms of the colors, I like the colors on iPhone 16 Pro. It's livelier and brighter compared to a muted but darker. You have a stronger contrast on Nothing Phone 3. But in terms of details, both looks the same. Very detailed phones. Let's check the autofocus. And obviously this is the vlogging test on both phones. Let's check the video stabilization. Alright, switching to the rear cameras. So this is the rear camera test, starting with the ultra wide 4K 60 FPS. Again, we're shooting on the highest frame rate and resolution for both phones. 0.5x on iPhone 16 Pro versus 0.6x on Nothing Phone 3. You got a wider field of view on iPhone 16 Pro, which I like. In terms of colors, brighter on iPhone 16 Pro and natural looking. Should I say natural looking? Maybe the white balance is affecting the colors as well. You got a warmer looking iPhone 16 Pro versus natural looking and cooler tone on Nothing Phone 3. In terms of shadows, almost the same on both phones. Let's check the autofocus. You can see the white balance here. Warmer on iPhone 16 Pro versus natural looking on Nothing Phone 3. This is the vlogging test on both phones. Again, 4K 60 FPS using the ultra wide outdoors. And checking the video stabilization. Switching to the main sensor. 24mm, again, punched in on Nothing Phone 3. And you got a wider field of view on iPhone 16 Pro. In terms of colors, almost the same. I should say warmer and brighter on iPhone 16 Pro compared to Nothing Phone 3. And also, by the way, there's a red accent or red light blinking at the back of Nothing Phone 3. So this is the vlogging test on both phones, 4K 60 FPS outdoors. Let's check the autofocus. And video stabilization. Let's switch to 3x. And this is 5x on iPhone 16 Pro. This is the video stabilization test using the zoom on both phones. In terms of the video quality, again, brighter on iPhone 16 Pro compared to Nothing Phone 3. But the colors are really good on both phones, especially on this rock for Nothing Phone 3. Can we check the autofocus? Because it's now zoomed in. So it's not working on iPhone 16 Pro. Still works though on Nothing Phone 3. And in terms of the farther zoom, we got 18x on Nothing Phone 3 and 15x on iPhone 16 Pro. I like the details and the colors on iPhone 16 Pro. Switching back to 3x and 5x, which phone do you think is better? On night shots using the ultra wide, we got better colors on Nothing Phone 3. You can still see the maroon colored card compared to the almost black core on iPhone 16 Pro. Nothing Phone 3 exposes the scene better. But on pitch black condition, it's the other way around. We got better exposed image on iPhone 16 Pro. On the main sensor test, still the same tendency as the ultra-wide. We got a brighter image outdoors for Nothing Phone 3. Well, it's all crushed on the iPhone 16 Pro. But if you look on the details, you got more details on iPhone 16 Pro. On pitch black condition, still iPhone 16 Pro is brighter and sharper compared to the competition. 3x versus 5x, we got a warmer image on iPhone 16 Pro. Also, the sharpness are very good on both phones. The sky's better on Nothing Phone 3. It's a bit purplish on iPhone 16 Pro. And lastly, on pitch black condition, iPhone 16 Pro is the runaway winner here.
Alright, so this is the low light video test on Nothing Phone 3 versus iPhone 16 Pro. 4K 30 FPS. We can also shoot 60 FPS on both phones, but we're just shooting on 30 FPS. I found that 60 FPS is darker on low light video recording. In terms of video quality, we got a warmer look on iPhone 16 Pro and wider compared to a punched in, darker look on Nothing Phone 3. It crushes the blacks looking at my shirt and my cap. I think that's it for the selfie video recording 4K 30 FPS. Now let's check the rear cameras. Alright, the rear camera test, starting with the ultra-wide. Again, 4K 30 FPS on both phones. I noticed that you have a red blinking light on Nothing Phone 3. It's nice because you know you're recording on this phone. In terms of the hardware, we have a 50 megapixel sensor on Nothing Phone 3. This is 1/2.76 versus a 48 megapixel sensor on iPhone 16 Pro. This is 1/2.55. So larger sensor, a bit larger on iPhone 16 Pro. In terms of video quality, again, wider field of view on iPhone 16 Pro, warmer compared to a punched in, and neutral tone on Nothing Phone 3. I think that's it for the ultra wide. Now let's check the main sensor. Now we're checking the main sensor on both phones. We have 4K 30 FPS video recording, low light video test on Nothing Phone 3 versus iPhone 16 Pro. 50 megapixel sensor on Nothing Phone 3, 1/3 inch sensor, so it's really big on Nothing Phone 3 versus 1/1.28 inch sensor, 50 megapixel on iPhone 16 Pro. So almost the same in terms of the sensor size. In terms of video quality, this is the best sensors on all the sensors for both phones in terms of low light video recording. I think that's it for the main sensor test. Now let's check the zoom. Alright, now we're checking the zoom capabilities on both phones. 5x telephoto on iPhone 16 Pro versus 3x telephoto on Nothing Phone 3. What I like about Nothing Phone 3 is you have 50 megapixel sensor across all the sensors, from the selfie, ultra-wide, min sensor, and even the zoom. I think that's it for the low-light video test. Now let's check the video resolution.
And lastly, the video resolution, starting with Nothing Phone 3. This is 4K 60 FPS using the selfie. And also 4K 60 FPS using the selfie camera on iPhone 16 Pro. They have the same frame rate and resolution, 4K 60 FPS. I think that's it for a camera comparison video between these two phones. Nothing Phone 3 can compete with iPhone, Samsung, and even Pixels of the world. I think it's not the best in terms of the camera performance, but in terms of design, the look, functionality, and even the camera performance, this phone is really good. I think that's it for our ultimate camera comparison video between these two phones. Leave your comment down below, and as always, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.